Patriots, welcome to Hope for Survival YouTube. Thanks for joining in. It's much appreciated. In this video, I wanted to drop quick for you this evening. You may or may not have caught today that Director Wray from the FBI made another announcement in reference to the domestic or the United States terrorist threat. And the words that he chose to use in this were more alerting than the previous message that he spoke about. And he basically said that the alerting lights were now flashing as in urgent or imminent or highly likely. I cross-checked his words against the Homeland Security alerting tool, and they still have the potential for terrorist threat at yellow. There's a couple stages above yellow. So maybe they haven't updated it since his comments today. Personally, when you consider everything that's going on in the United States right now, there's increased division domestically over the Israel Palestine ordeal going on in the Middle East, Israel and the Gaza area, and quite frankly, Hamas is getting annihilated, and I believe it's only going to get worse in the coming weeks and months for them. And as the attacks continue and there's an outcry for pauses and foreign aid coming in for care for the civilians who are caught in the battle zone, the tensions are only going to increase. Our government administration is under a lot of pressure right now to not show cause towards Israel. I heard today that they had canceled Hanukkah, so there's an outcry over that as well, which is really interesting when you consider the amount of funding the Democratic Party gets from the liberal Jewish from Israel and within the United States. So this could play out not well for the administration. The thing that concerns me here is that if the terrorist cells within the United States are or are linked to Hamas, there may be a developing attitude, or they may already have the attitude that they have nothing to lose and everything to gain, as they witness their cause against Israel being wiped out. So, and again, as I stated earlier, it is unknown if the cells that are within the United States, if they're linking up together to amass a larger force. So these are all things we got to be cautious of. We just need to be smart and not live in fear. As I stated earlier, the likelihood of a terrorist attack against you, one, is minimal to zero. However, the more people that you are around in groups out in public areas, your 0% starts to escalate. Okay, so You just need to be smart. Don't be in fear. Um, if events start occurring, you just need to be smart about it. And like I said previously, the type of attacks and warfare that they use, it's brutal and it's ruthless. So if these things do start happening and the media start showing that on the screen or streaming, be cautious of what you expose yourself to. Okay, so just pick and choose wisely. So I want to show you some things in my spare time that I don't have. I dug into some old files that I had and when I was working in the anti-terrorism field, and I wanted to show you some things. So let me show them. Oftentimes over the past months in training classes and also in Zoom sessions, we've had discussions in reference to the 3 letters and Homeland Security labeling Christian believers, Christian organizations as possible domestic terrorist groups, and veterans, white Christian veterans, white Christian patriot veterans, lumped into these buckets. I wanted to show you this assessment that was back from around 1998. It hasn't changed a whole lot since then. And keep in mind, this was documented prior to the Patriot Act in 911. So this was entitled Project Megiddo, and it's a strategic assessment of the potential for domestic terrorism in the United States. And I wanted to show you briefly some of the verbiage in this document. It states, Christian identity adherents believe that God will use his chosen race as his weapon to battle the forces of evil. Christian identity followers believe they are among the chosen by God to wage this battle during Armageddon, and they will be the last line of defense for the white race and Christian America. To prepare for these events, they engage in survivalist and paramilitary training, storing foodstuff and supplies, and caching weapons and ammunition. They often reside on compounds located in remote areas. As the millennium approaches, various right-wing groups pose a threat to American society. The radical right encompasses a vast number of and variety of groups such as survivalists, militias, the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, Christian identity churches, the ant and skinheads. These are groups not mutually exclusive, and within the subculture, individuals easily migrate from one group to another. This intermixes of organizations make it difficult to discern a singular religious ideology or belief system that encompasses the right wing. Nevertheless, Christian identity is the most unifying theology for a number of these diverse groups, and one widely adhered to by white supremacists. It is a belief system that provides its members with a religious basis for racism and an ideology that condones violence against non-Aryans. This doctrine allows believers to fuse religion with hate, conspiracy theories, and apocalyptic fear of the future. Christian identity-inspired millennialism has a distinctly racist tinge in the belief that Armageddon will be a race war of areas against Jews and non-whites. The potential difficulty society may face due to the Y2K computer glitch is considered by a number of Christian identity adherents to be the perfect event upon which to instigate a race war. There are a number of issues concerning the Christian identity belief system that create problems when determining the threat level of groups. First, Christian identity does not have a national organization structure. Rather, it is a grouping of churches throughout the country which follows its basic ideology. Some of the churches can be as small as a dozen people and some as large as the AN Church, which claims membership in the thousands. In addition, some groups take the belief to a higher extreme and believe violence is the means to achieve their goal. This lack of structure creates a greater potential for violent actions by lone offenders and or leaderless cells. It is important to note that only a small percentage of Christian identity adherents believe that the new millennium will bring about a race war. However, those that do have a high propensity for violence. Secondly, there are many factions of the right wing from Christian identity to militias, all of which are intermingled in ideology and members. In some cases, it's easy for a person to be a member of more than one group or to move from one to another. Often, if a member of one group believes the group is lax in its convictions, he or she will gravitate to a group that is more radical. The third concern is the increased level of cooperation between the different groups. This trend can be seen throughout the right wing. Christian identity followers are pairing up with militias to receive paramilitary training and have also joined with members of the KKK and other right-wing groups. This cohesiveness creates an environment in which ideology can easily spread and branch out. However, it makes the job of law enforcement much more difficult as there are no distinctive borders between the groups or ideology. Again, this is from 1998. And so the movement of labeling people of faith is not new, and it is something that's been out there for a while as to starting the labeling at the federal level. So you've heard me talking about the importance of thinking outside the box, staying left of being a hard target for many of the areas under preparedness. Well, for defending yourself against potential terrorist attacks, being a hard target, meaning you're unpredictable and you have a hardened area that you're in, applies. It's very important. So here's some things that you can think about. So under target selection and assessment phase, these are conducted to discern targets' daily patterns and activities. Do you go the same route to work every day? Do you jog the same pattern every day? Do you go to the mailbox at the same time every day? Do you drive the same routes to go to and from the grocery store? Do you have the same patterns in the evening when you turn your lights out? These make you predictable, okay? Information will be used to determine time and place for actual attack. The more that you have an established routine that's predictable, the more information you're giving the possible threat as to determining a time and place for an attack. The earliest phase that they're conducting their surveillance is when they're most vulnerable to being detected. So from your side, it's being observant and monitoring what is out of the norm, what is there that doesn't belong. Do you pay attention when you're driving from point A to point B? Do you see odd vehicles parked on your street or in your neighborhood or anywhere that you may visit during your day. What is out of the ordinary that doesn't belong? Terrorist groups will use untrained or less experienced personnel initially. Why? Because if they get caught, it is of minimal um, damage to their effort. And in most cases, these individuals who run surveillance, pick targets, and then pull off attacks, they do not know one another. So if they're caught and interrogated, there's minimal information that they can offer. Okay. Surveillance will last for a substantial period of time. Remember, if you're a target and they're running surveillance on you, they have all the time in the world, as long as they're not suspecting that someone's on to them. So they have all the time in the world. This is the best opportunity for you to send terrorists elsewhere, is being a hard target and not being predictable. So the operational attack phase. This is when the terrorists decide on a target of choice. The surveillance now becomes more professional in nature, and it's no longer necessary to maintain constant surveillance. Why? Because they've already figured out your pattern and your predictability. This is an individual who does everything the same way every day. They're predictable. They're a soft target. So under terrorist operations, phases of the terrorist operation, you have the target selection, the surveillance, the final target selection, the planning phase, the final surveillance to make sure that the target selected, their predictability remains the same and they're a soft target. And again, this does not have to be a person. This could very well be a target of opportunity for a shopping mall, a church, a school bus, a sports event, a parade, anything of this nature. Step 6, you have the deployment of the attack team, and 7 is you have the actual attack. So who are some of the groups that are in the United States, Islamic fundamentalist organizations in the U.S.? The American Islamic Group, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Jamaat Islamiyah, Abu Sayyaf Group, Jamaat Muslimin, Al-Mujahideen, Muslim Arab Youth Organization, Hizb ut-Tahrir, the United Association for Studies and Research, the UASR, Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, American Muslim Foundation Council, and the Holy Land Foundation. This is an old list, so there are probably many more. You can probably Google and go to a government site and find a more updated. But an example is you see on this U.S. list of organizations, you see Hamas listed there, but yet if you go to the Middle East, of course, Hamas or Hezbollah are not listed as terrorist organizations. This map is a few years old, about 25 years old, so it's probably even more updated, but this is pre-9/11. But look at all the organizations are known to have been in the United States at this time. Okay, and this was the list I mentioned in a previous platform to Google and go read the congressional testimony of Steve Emerson from 2/24/1998. You should go read it. It's mind-blowing as to the identified and uncovered number of terrorist organizations that are practicing in the United States. They're holding massive rallies in American cities at enclosed dome facilities, stadiums, and organizations. Individuals from all these organizations come to these meetings. They burn American flags on the 50-yard line. They denounce Christianity and they denounce the American government, and we continue to allow them to do so. So this actually started when Steve Emerson was in Oklahoma City, and he noticed a large number of Muslim dressed men going to a specific location, and that kind of tipped him off. So you notice on here also throughout that you see a lot of Muslim Brotherhood. Around the United States in large cities. So you can probably also get an updated version of this map, but I just wanted you to see, even dating back some, that the problems already existed and these terrorist cells have been in our country for a long time, and they're very deep rooted. So I pulled out some old files from back when I worked in the anti-terrorism field, and much of this information remains the same. And I wanted to show it to you in the event that if you possibly come across any of these logos, okay? And up here in the upper left, you can see the Greater Syrian Party. This is a group located in Lebanon, Syria, with supporters in North America. And you can see the resemblance of the logo here. And then down here you have, of course, the Al-Qaeda, the base, the World Islamic Front for Jihad Against Jews, Crusaders, the Islamic Army for the Liberation of the Holy Places, the Osama bin Laden Network, the Osama bin Laden Organization, and that is the black flag. Okay. And the quote used is, "There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger." This phrase is also incorporated in flags of Islamic countries, such as Saudi Arabia. So these are Palestinian and other groups that operate directly against Israel that appear on the Secretary of State's list of foreign terrorist groups. All right. And here you have the Democratic Front for Liberation of Palestine, and it's a copper-looking star. And then you have the Izz-al-Din al-Qassam brigades. And this is the military arm of Hamas. And you can see it's basically a lot of green with the rifle in it. Hamas, the Islamic Resistance Movement. Hamas is a Palestinian terrorist group known for suicide bombings that target Israel and possibly Western citizens. Receives funding from Palestinian expatriates, Iran, and private benefactors in Saudi Arabia and actually throughout the world. Then you have Hezbollah, the party of God, and these are the logos of their flags. Hezbollah is a Lebanese Shiite terrorist group known for car bombings that target Westerners and Israelis. Organization and comes from Iran and Islamic support groups in Europe and North America. And then here are some other ones throughout the different factions. Some you may have heard of in the past. The PKK, which is the Kurdistan Workers' Party of Turkey and Western Europe. So as you can see, these are all established organizations. They're hate groups, willing to die for a cause, against the great Satan of Israel and the United States. So if you see any flags like this around your community, if you can, take a picture, and you can look them up on the internet and possibly see and find out who and what they represent. There's a lot of Palestinian flags flying around the United States right now that, you know, they're like bumper stickers on cars, and basically people showing a support for either the Israeli cause or the Palestinian cause. So with all this information, and information you may have on your own, you need to develop a plan within your mind and with your family members of things. If you're out in public, you may be driving down the road and drive around a corner and drive into a large protest or rally. Don't get out your camera and start videotaping. Your number one priority is to immediately do a U-turn and get out of the area. If individuals start coming towards your car and beating on your car, you need to get out of the area, okay? Worst case, if by chance, if you get drug out of your car for some reason, you can try to start convincing them that you are sympathetic to their cause, to side with them, to try to lessen the possibility of harm, and first chance you need to get out of the area immediately, okay? You may have your own opinion, you may be passionate about how you feel, but these are violent powder kegs that could ignite to something bigger quickly, okay? So think about these things. Give it some thought. Play the what if game. You know, what if I'm in a mall, or what if we're in a mall, and all of a sudden a protest breaks out. You may not know it. You go in a store and there may be a Jewish family that owns the store, and the next thing you know, the store is surrounded by protesters protesting against them. You may not have a way out of the store. This goes back to what we talk about. Always know where there's an exit to get out, the secondary door, the back of a restaurant, the back of a store. How can I get out? Okay, so keep all these things in mind. Mainly be safe and be smart. And again, don't live in fear. You just need to be smart. Okay. It is unknown what's going to happen. It seems like every day changes, but I've given you some information in the slides to help you know some things to be looking for and some things to try to avoid. Mainly, don't be predictable. You want to be a hard target. If you've got any kind of decals or license plates on your car or anything in the window of your car that could go against the conflict cause right now, you might want to cover it up or remove it off of your car. Okay? And keep your head up, keep your head on a swivel, be smart. Remember, everyone's not a terrorist, but it only takes one terrorist to disrupt your game and cause you harm. Alright? So be safe out there. Again, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and become a member of the HFS YouTube team. And if you like this video, please hit like. If you have comments, please leave them and share with someone who may have interest. Until next time, be blessed. Bravo Echo out. Thank you for checking out the Hope for Survival YouTube. channel. If you are new to Hope for Survival, you can check out our books at our webpage. Book 1, which is Hope for Survival, Getting You Prepared for Disasters, and Book 2, Hope for Survival, The Mindset, are both available for order on the website. We also offer the Hope for Survival football stick, which is a memory stick set up as a digital filing cabinet with files already loaded on there for you to digitally copy items such as deeds, auto transcript for ownership, wills, living wills, loans, banking information, items that if your home burned down or you had some form of a disaster, you could have all your important papers already digitally filed on this stick. All you do is simply drag the digital file into the appropriate preset folder so that you'll have it in the event of a disaster. You have to flee your home in a hurry, or also if you're away from home and you need critical information that's personal. If you have your memory stick with you, you can put it in your computer and pull that information up wherever you may be. Again, you can find these items to order at our website, https www.hopeforsurvival.com, or you can email me at preparedness101@protonmail.com, and I will try to help you out. Again, thanks for checking out the Hope for Survival YouTube channel. Hope to see you again.